Good evening, gang. Kevin here, Life22. And like a phoenix from the flame, I have returned. I am amongst the living. Not that I wasn't. I'm sure. Well, I guess that depends. That depends on what your definition of living is, right? Consciousness. Every time I fall asleep, I'm unconscious. To some people, it might not be that you're alive. Anyways, not to get into a whole March for Life type argument with you today, but this is day 2 of our Fit February. So check in with you guys, see how fit you are, see if you've been working out, see if you got your walk in. Did you get your run in with your dog this morning? I hope you didn't have a run in with a dog this morning. And then, just checking in, and the weight of the world is very stressful. So tonight, this evening, I want to discuss with you stress, but then also back at it with that Motivational Monday. I know it's evening and it's already through your Monday, and hopefully this pushes you through to Tuesday, but I wanted to just kind of talk with you, just some goals that I'm setting. Every month when we do one of these themes, it's kind of like a rebirth for me, and I just have to keep at it. Every month I add something new to my plate, and at the beginning of every month I have to remind myself, like, okay, now you need to count everything, because like last month you didn't do this, or that. And I want to make sure that we are, that I'm getting to all of it, right? So, I do a lot of product reviews, and so I do those, and they have a tendency to pile up, and I have the multiple businesses, and they have a tendency to have their own workloads and stresses, and and then there's family life, right? Like in each one of the kids, and then they need their own attention, and then the spouse, and she needs her attention, and so there's just a lot of things to tend to. And then there's my own personal health, which is staying fit, mental clarity, mental health, which is doing this, and sometimes you forget about that mental health, and so over the last couple months I was kind of gung-ho about it. Then it kind of fades away as you start taking on more responsibilities, tasks, and attending to other things that you have going on. There are a lot of stresses in life, and so I want to start making sure that I'm at least doing I'd like to do a daily video, right? That's my goal. If I don't achieve my goal, it's not the end of the world. You don't just give up when I'm going to work out every day. When I skip a day, and then it's game over. Now, I know a lot of people have that mentality, and in my second nature, in the back of my head, that always usually ends up happening. And with that, because it does. That's why I haven't skipped out a workout in 3 months, right? I have not skipped one, because if I skip a day, well, why can't I skip tomorrow? Why can't I skip the next day, right? Why can't you skip? So you don't, right? Yeah, and so it's one of those things. And then I cheat on my diet a little bit, right? And the more I cheat, the more I want to cheat. And what I have to do is I have to reset. And when I come back and I reset with those dietary habits, good things happen. Brain fog goes away, all that other stuff. I've lost 25 pounds in 3 months. My doctor, I love my doctor, because I kind of came in and he was like, in the nicest way possible, he fat shamed my ass. And I appreciate it, because I call it that. And he probably would say he was not fat shaming me. I call it fat shaming, and it's a good thing. It's healthy, right? And he fat shamed me. And he was like, I'll see you in 6 months. Hopefully you can lose 20 pounds. And I lost 25 pounds in the first month of him saying it. Within 3 weeks, I lost 15 pounds. And then I've gradually been but I was 20 pounds in the first month. In the first 2 or 3 weeks, it was 15 pounds. Within a month, it was 20. And then it's been hovering between 20 and 25. And I just hit the 25 mark the other day, but it's been slow. And then I cheated on my diet a little bit and went up by a couple pounds. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. So the less I cheat, the less weight I'll lose. And then if I keep doing physical activity, handling the workloads of rental properties and things like that, you build them muscles that Popeye has. Eat your spinach. So yeah, that's a very, very good thing to do, right? Build a ship, eat your spinach. That is the Popeye way. eat your spinach. That's being healthy, and handle your workload, right? And that's shipbuilding. That's what Popeye did. Him and Popeye. And look at them, like roid raged monsters. So, but yeah, with handling all this stuff and doing all these scheduling and all these different things that you have to do in your life, life gets stressful and it builds on you, it weighs on you. And what you need to do is you need to rely on the support structure of your friends and your family and your significant others, and maybe not so much your children. You can if they're older, right? But like, you wouldn't like just like, I wouldn't like, boo-hoo my business grievings to like, my 10-year-old. Just, she's not built for that yet, right? Like she's in construction, right? In that department. But you just wouldn't put that on a child, especially because you're supposed to be, if you're in my shoes, you're supposed to be, the man, right? You're not supposed to cry in front of your kids. You're not supposed to, you're supposed to cry in front of your spouse. You're supposed to like keep that shit to a minimum because they're supposed to respect you, and it's hard to respect somebody who's crying in front of you. That said, you got to rely on your friends. And I had a couple people in my life that have been kind of lacking at this, and it's added more stress, right? Like, I call a friend, I lean on him, says that, hey, like, let's have a chat. Doesn't answer his phone for the chat, but then, has the time to Barbie on the internet. And it's like, you try to reach out to him, and it's just like crickets and quips, right? Like, it's like no answers a phone call, but send a quip, right? And I reached out to another friend because it stresses me out even more when a friend is somebody who's part of your support structure, somebody who's supposed to be your friend, has one of these, like, just doesn't hold up to being a friend. So this other friend of mine today tells me, he goes, Kev, you're putting too much faith in people, and I was like, how so? Like, he goes, because you're giving everybody the benefit of the doubt all the time. And he goes, not everybody's wired like you, man. Like, he goes, I know that if I called you any time of day, like, you'd come over and, my house could be under siege. You would like die trying to save my family and get them out of the house. And I'm like, that's what I do for my friends. And he goes, yeah, well, not all of you put too much onus on other people. And so while you consider somebody your friend, they may not have that same diehard metric, maybe be specifically, and then that's no pun intended with the diehard either. But like, may not have that, I guess maybe pun intended, right? The, pun unintended but effective. But like, you might not have that same aspect. They might not show you or anybody that same aspect to friendship, where you would, die trying, because they're your friend. And it's like, yeah, I guess that's right. And he goes, yeah, you should, you need to start like reflecting on people that you consider your friends, and only you can choose the company that you keep. And it's just, good advice. I'm sure I'll pull through with this other friend. I feel like now I'm venting to you guys, but which in essence it is, it's a vent, right? Like, but these are the struggles, right? This is what the channel is about. The channel is about, originally this channel was about me filming my life, because my life was always so crazy, and I am just an average Joe, but like, in life you can't make this shit up. And maybe because of all the shit that I just kind of like ADHD my ass into, that like, a lot of it is brought upon me because I bring it upon myself. And so then all of a sudden it's like, well, how did that happen? It's like, well, you're the one who chose to hang out with, vinegar and baking soda, Kev. Like, and then it's like, yeah, you're right. 100% right. So with that said, getting back to, there was my little vent about stresses and friendship, but I wanted to also, I also want to fill in the viewer, man, on what else we've got going on the channel, because election season is coming up. We've got. I'd like to start ramping up. I've got and that's another thing. I've got a backlog of like common council meetings. Like I caught the state of the city address, and I did not give you any of my take on it. I did not give you, my play-by-play, and that was my goal for this year, was to start like just giving you back to Kevin's political, commentary on a lot of this stuff. I don't know if I'm going to like do what I've done in the past and just sit through like an entire school board meeting. I might pull highlights. I might reference clips, but I definitely, and then make them into shorter clips. Like you're not going to see a whole like boom, 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 Kevin's best of. You're going to see maybe a clip and a Kevin's take on it, and versus. So I'm going to watch the whole thing, and I'm going to give you the highlights. But things like that, I have a whole backlog. I have, like the last 3 or 4 council meetings that I've missed, and so I'm going to try to catch up on stuff like that, and the state of the city address, and the school board now, that's a cool thing. They're starting to film their meetings again. I believe they have one. I think they have 1 or 2 meetings a month. They don't do their committees, and I'll look more into that, because it's one of those, like, I'll go back to giving you highlight clips of those. I'm going to listen to those and catch up on them. I do enjoy like knowing what our public school district is trying to force down our kids' throats, or what they're trying to do through the aperture of the state. So, but all right, guys, it's been 11 minutes. I went on longer today ranting about stuff than I did on Fit February. But what are you going to do? So we'll see you guys tomorrow on Life22. I gotta get like hotkeys or something, so you don't have to see me like not breaking eye contact. Deuces. See?